Hey, what's up guys, Mikey here. Marriage rates have been rising a lot lately, especially within the last year alone. So that can only mean that it's been building up to Valentine's Day for this year. And a word of advice to all you lovers out there. Make sure you get along with everybody in your significant other's family. Because if you get married, the last thing you want is to have an enemy-in-law. I remember this one girl I liked back in high school, and I started talking with her more often, and we became best friends because it was all part of my evil scheme to ask her out. But then there was this guy and his girlfriend who started a fight with me over something I didn't even do, they just accused me of it. And let's just say I got the short end of the stick that day. So needless to say, those two made an enemy out of me that day. But then the girl I liked told me that the guy was her third cousin, distant cousin, whatever you call it. So after that, things were awkward between us, and she and I never really talked since. But she didn't want to f me anyway, so it evens out. Enemy-in-Law is the episode where Plankton falls in love with Mr. Krabs' mom after a fight with Karen, but Mr. Krabs thinks he's using her to steal the Krabby Patty secret formula. This episode aired on October 14, 2005, and is the episode that features the biggest role and most amount of screen time of Mr. Krabs' mom, Betsy Krabs, in one showing. After this, the next episode where she has a major amount of screen time would be episode 570, Mamageddon from season 14. She also has a bit of a voice change starting with this episode, which I noticed even back in the day. The previous episodes where she had a speaking role were episode 75, Sailor Mouth from season 2, and 108, Midlife Crustacean from season 3, and in those episodes, she was voiced by crew member Paul Tibbett.
Well, hello there. What are you doing with my bloomers?
Starting with this episode, she was voiced by Sierra Irwin.
For your information, Eugene, he hasn't asked me once about the formula.
And she would continue to voice her for her very few sparse appearances for the rest of the series. Something I didn't realize until just now is her design has changed slightly too. In Sailor Mouth, she wears a purple dress. In Midlife Crustacean, she wears a blue dress. And starting here, she returns to her purple dress, which she will wear for the rest of the series. It's an odd detail change, but I'm okay with it. The voice change, on the other hand, is a bit odd. At this point, Paul Tibbett was the showrunner of the series, but he no longer voices the character. If he didn't want to, I can understand that. But as for his performance, I kinda liked it a bit more. She sounded a bit older, which makes sense since she's supposed to be much older than Mr. Krabs. Now with this new voice, her accent is much different, which I always noticed back in the day. I didn't know it was a Scottish accent until recently, but since it's so different from Mr. Krabs's, it didn't sit with me the same way as the old voice, and I can't really put my finger on why. No disrespect to the voice actress, of course, and I don't hate the new accent by any means, it's just a little noticeably different in my opinion. Aside from that, we see a new side of Plankton showing he can indeed fall in love and feel more emotions other than evil. We did learn about his family recently in episode 114, Plankton's Army from season 3, but here we actually see a different side of him emotionally. And this will become more and more common as the series moves forward. And now, with all that being said, let's watch this episode so we can remember Mr. Krabs' mom for a change. So the episode starts up and a giant robot is attacking Bikini Bottom, but at least this time it's not a house bot. It kidnaps some people and takes them to the chum bucket. Plankton says that now they'll be forced to eat at the chum bucket, and when the others realized that, they left. Plankton should have tied them up before he said he kidnapped them to sell them chum. Plankton and Karen get into an argument despite Plankton clearly being in the wrong. Meanwhile, Mr. Krabs' mom came into his office, and Mr. Krabs tried to hide his money when she arrived, and shooed her away when she said she found a hat she liked. Is that worse than an uncle saying bad things about his mom? Which would be his nephew's grandma? Plankton wanted to feel love for a real lady and not an electronic. Then he saw Mrs. Krabs leaving the Krusty Krab and instantly fell in love with her. Karen was offended that Plankton fell in love with another woman, but he pointed out that she was a wired integrated female electroencephalograph and not a wife. And when he saw she had an off button, he turned her off so he could go after Mrs. Krabs. While she was napping, he had the robot capture her and read her a poem. Then tried lasering her a love note, but she just became more and more scared. Maybe kidnapping her also has something to do with her fear. So the robot karate chopped a coral reef to make it look like her, which she did like. Sometime later, Plankton called her and asked her out to dinner. We learned that he spied on her so he could give her a hat as a present. They agreed to meet at the Krusty Krab for dinner that night. Later that day, Mrs. Krabs showed up to tell Mr. Krabs about the hat and that her new boyfriend bought it for her. After learning that she had a new admirer who bought her the hat himself, Mr. Krabs became very excited for her and agreed to stay open late so they can have their date together. That night, Plankton showed up with a red carnation covering his face, and SpongeBob sat him down. Mrs. Krabs showed up and thought Plankton was cute. As they were just talking, Mr. Krabs and Plankton discovered the hidden truth about this relationship and weren't pleased to say the least. Mr. Krabs thought that Plankton was up to something, but Mrs. Krabs was pissed off with him and had him let Plankton go, and they left the Krusty Krab together. After some time passed, Mr. Krabs told Plankton to stay away from his mom, despite Plankton being genuinely happier now. Just having an actual lady to fuck and not a girl in a cold hard shell will put any guy in a good mood. Mr. Krabs still assumed he was trying to get the secret formula out of his mom, despite Plankton genuinely not knowing she knew about it. After Mr. Krabs left, Plankton decided to use this to his advantage. At the Krusty Krab, Mrs. Krabs told her son that Plankton never asked about the formula and told him to stop interfering in her life and sent him to his office. Then Plankton showed up and wooed Mrs. Krabs pretty quickly. Then he proposed to her in front of the whole restaurant, but Mr. Krabs decided to stop hiding in his room and man up. That wasn't even your room, and you were only in there for like 20 seconds, if that. Plankton thought he would get married to Mr. Krabs' mom, but she turned down his proposal, and Mr. Krabs gloated about this. And apparently this was because she was seeing Plankton's robot behind Plankton's back. Plankton was offended by this and asked for the secret formula to make it even since she led him on. She now thought that Plankton was really only seeing her for the secret formula and punched him out of the restaurant and back to the chum bucket. He turned Karen on and was mean to her, so she zapped him and they got back together and the episode ends. Since Karen's a machine, that would mean Plankton is still single, right? So that was Enemy-in-Law, and I'd say that's a solid episode. My personal biggest negative is definitely the beginning when Mr. Krabs cares more about his money than his mom and tries to shoo her away. It's only a disappointment since at this point in the show, he never really did something like that to Pearl, and somebody like Pearl at least reacts to it in some way. It's still mean, but her reactions can make the scenes better at times. Here, it's not very good to see him shoo away his own mom because he doesn't want her to spend his money. Of course, I don't mind him not wanting Plankton to date his mom, because that would be pretty rough to have to deal with your mortal enemy dating somebody you love. And the robot being able to walk and talk on his own at the end without being controlled by Plankton, who we have seen controlling the robot throughout the episode, is weird. I guess you can say the power of love literally brought him to life since Mrs. Krabs was seeing him behind Plankton's back. But what I thought was that Plankton controls the robot from inside the robot when he wants to, because at the beginning when he kidnaps customers, he was basically already inside the chum bucket. So maybe the robot can do things on his own when he wants to, but also has the option to be controlled by Plankton when necessary. I don't know, man, that's the best I got. But I'm willing to forgive it because it has some hilarious irony to it. Plankton calls Karen, a machine, his wife, and this is the only time he was shown falling in love with a real person. Mrs. Krabs was seeing this robot behind Plankton's back and seemed to like the robot, a machine, more than Plankton. It's so ironic that it's actually pretty funny. So I'll give the robot inconsistency a pass and just go with my child brain explanation of the robot being designed to be sentient and do things on his own when he wants, and to be controlled by Plankton when necessary. Which is also fitting considering how many robots made by Plankton have always failed him in one way or another.
Coin-operated self-destruct. Not one of my better ideas. Ouch! Hey, what gives?
Now let's move on and talk about better things, because there is quite a lot of good here. Even though I'm not a fan of how Mr. Krabs treated his mom at the beginning, I do like that he was happy that his mom had a boyfriend before he knew it was Plankton. He was still truly happy for her and even agreed to stay open late. I also like when he tried to be a man, but still acted like a child by begging his mom to not marry Plankton, and when he immaturely laughed when she turned down Plankton's proposal. I do also like the gags where he makes SpongeBob swallow his wallet, and when it was revealed that he took a hat from some dead lady in a casket. He also has some funny lines that I just really like regardless.
Don't play stupid with me! Squidward, I need you to make a return for me!
There's also this exchange that occurs in the middle.
Plankton crabs!
Eugene!
Mommy?
Mommy?
SpongeBob!
SpongeBob?
Mikey! Mikey! It reminds me of a similar exchange between Mr. Krabs and Plankton in episode 49, Imitation Krabs from season 2.
Plankton! Crabs! Plankton! Crabs!
SpongeBob!
And if I'm being honest, I like the one from this episode better than the one in season 2. I like the Popeye gag when Mrs. Krabs punches Plankton back to the chum bucket. When I was a kid, I learned about the word electroencephalograph from this episode, and that was the biggest word I learned at the time, because I saw this before I saw Mary Poppins and learned about the word supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. And eventually, I learned that an electroencephalograph is a machine that conducts electric activity in the brain. Again, I like how SpongeBob still taught good morals and bigger words at times back in the day. SpongeBob doesn't have a major role in this episode, but I don't mind that because this served to flesh Plankton out more, and I like how they started showing restraint with SpongeBob himself when they want to focus more on other characters. Sure, episodes like Plankton's Army or 53, Squidville from season 2 have both had other characters in the spotlight, and those episodes show that other characters can still carry episodes on their own, but I still like when it happens, at least when it's done well. I like that this episode beeps Mr. Krabs' mom up a bit. This episode reveals that she's single and the way she handles her love life. It doesn't really happen after this one, but she's still a great character here. As much as I love SpongeBob's grandma, even she didn't get this kind of development. I like how furious Karen gets here, and it shows that she will stand up for herself and clap back at Plankton when he's mean to her. And of course, Plankton. Plankton is the best character in this episode. Sure, he did turn his relationship, which made him happier all by itself, into a scheme for the Krabby Patty formula, but even before he knew she was Mr. Krabs' mom, he still got bit by the love bug and experienced true love for her.
I've never felt like this before.
After a time lapse, it seemed he had changed for a while. Since he got to experience true love, that's enough to make anybody happy. Lots of people change for the better when they have a partner who loves them. And Plankton himself is no exception. He really had no interest in the formula until Mr. Krabs brought it up, and that's when he came up with the plan. And when she turned down his proposal, he more so felt betrayed when he learned the truth about the robot, and then brought up the formula. But I still love that it's possible that Plankton can change instead of just being a psychopath the whole series. It's a good new side to his character that hadn't been explored up to this point. Aside from episode 21, FUN from season 1, when he did start to bond with SpongeBob. And even though he did still bond with SpongeBob here, it was still born out of another scheme for the secret formula, and takes this patty immediately compared to how long it took for him to cook up this scheme in this episode. But regardless, it's still enjoyable. Overall, this is a good episode. The story works pretty well for the most part, and it's definitely a great concept that I'm glad they did in this show. Maybe it could have been a little funnier, but this is still very enjoyable in my opinion. It may not be directly Valentine's Day related, despite Nickelodeon airing it alongside other love-themed episodes and 32 Valentine's Day from season 1 when February rolls around, but it's still a pretty nice one to watch if you want a SpongeBob episode about love. Oh right, they also never say Mrs. Krabs' first name, Betsy, on screen in this episode, and that is also something very strange which I really wish they revealed on screen rather than making me have to look it up online. Enemy-in-Law is a solid episode. It's got some good jokes and some great character moments. Mr. Krabs may not be at his best in this one, but he's definitely been far worse than he was here, even up to this point in the show. We may not see much more of Mrs. Krabs in the future after this one, but she got some pretty good character development here too, and she's pretty strong as well. Definitely worth a watch in my opinion. But I also recently learned that the two people who got me in trouble over nothing are married now. So the people who got me in trouble over nothing got married and got to fuck, while I'm just sitting here alone asking the same question every morning I wake up. What the hell happened?